everybody. Happy National Girls and Women in Sports Day. I am so excited to chat with my friend Carrlyn Bathe. Carrlyn, how's it going?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. How are you, Kayla?
I'm great. This is such a fun opportunity. We get to little live Q&A.
This is great. I feel like we're hanging out. I haven't
I
seen you in a
know.
long time, so this is it. This is it right here. We're hanging out in front of everybody to see it. I'm here for it.
We talk about how we miss each other so much, not being at Staples together this year for Kings games, but we've got a lot of great questions for you today. And before we get started, I just want to say, I know you all as fans see Carrlyn on your TV night in and night out. Who you see on TV is the same person she is in real life. She is one of the most genuine, personable, bubbly, down-to-earth people. You have been in my corner since day one. And I just want to say thank you because you're a gem and you are one of the best in this business. And I'm so happy we get to chat.
You're gonna make me cry, and we haven't even started yet. So, thank you. I'll continue to be in your corner until the end of time. Right back at you. Literally echoing what you just said about me to you. Like you are that in-arena host that's buzzing around, yelling at people, getting them ramped up. So, thank you. That's really
I learned
sweet.
from the best. For those of you that don't know, Carrlyn was the in-game host. I followed her, so she taught me everything I know.
Best job in sports. Honestly, I know we're going to talk about some other things, but that is one of the best jobs in sports. You're literally like a professional hype person. Just get
exactly.
you just have to be on the same level as all the fans for 3 hours straight. It's the best job in sports.
And you get paid to do it. It feels wrong.
It's insane. Yeah.
All right. We've got so many great questions. Fans, thank you so much for submitting. Are you ready to get started?
Yes. Let's go.
Okay. The first question we have is actually from Fox Sports West. And I know there's something deeper to this question. They said, onions, no onions, or grilled onions. I have no idea what this means.
If they're talking about my In-N-Out order, then definitely grilled onions. I think that's what they're talking about. And
okay.
I can't do a raw onion if somebody paid me to. There's people I know that eat onions like apples. Don't come at me. They exist. Those are people. They exist. I swear.
What?
Yes, I know a person. But I can't do like anything with raw onions except bruschetta. And like, that's it. So grilled onions, I think they're asking about my In-N-Out order. I see you, Fox Sports West. And I love it.
Grilled onions it is. All right. Next question we have from Vice Angel 78. This question came all the way from Germany.
Oh my gosh.
They said, was Heidi Androl your inspiration to be a hockey TV personality?
100%. Every interview I do, how'd you get here story discussion that I do, I always circle back to Heidi. And when I was 19 and moved to California and dipped a toe into the LA Kings ice crew, I watched sports, obviously hockey growing up, but when you're 19, you kind of don't look at opportunity in the same way as you do maybe when you're, I don't know, older, right? So I just didn't comprehend, careers in sports. What are they? Do they exist? Are there any for women? What does that look like? So being here, seeing her, it just clicked for me. And I was like, wait a minute. This woman's working in sports. She's killing it. She's great at her job. She loves hockey and she gets to report on it and talk to people and get their stories. I was like, that's it. That's exactly what I want to do. So Heidi 1000% is just like the person that started it for me.
And for those that don't know your story, you have one of the coolest upbringings in this business. We'll probably get to that. I saw a question later on that will kind of describe that, but the way you've worked your way up in your career is pretty cool. Who is your favorite LA Kings player and why?
Oh gosh. Okay. You're not supposed to pick a favorite, right? And I feel like if you pick a favorite, you're leaving other people out. There's a lot. Oh God, I can't answer it.
You have to see these guys every night. That's an unfair question.
So and I miss being able to see them in person too. So that is the hardest part, is knowing like, okay, half of my job revolves around being able to interact with them in person and get those, interviews for you all at home. But there's the guys I've known the longest, right? Like the Brownies, the Kopitars, the Dowdies. Like I've known like those guys for so long. Quickie, like, and I love those guys to death. Some of the people that give me the best answers, Adrian Kempe is always giving me like a long, like well constructed, thought out response. I always appreciate it. He doesn't have to, and he always does.
Wow.
I love Curtis McDermott. I just always am so like, oh, that was such a great interview after I'm done with him. But
We stan Curtis.
We stan Curtis McDermott. But everybody is so unique, and I like each player and what they bring to, the job that I'm doing in a different way, if that makes sense. So I cannot pick one as a favorite because they all have different unique abilities that they just have, and it's great. So sorry, I can't answer that.
That was a great answer, especially for having to see them every night. Next question we have from Lindsay Martins. What is your favorite part about your job?
Favorite part about my job is eliciting a reaction from the player that isn't expected. One of my favorite moments was interviewing Drew Doughty, and it was at a Ducks game, I believe last season, and we brought up fighting, which is something that is not common to talk about in the league anymore. It's something that's making its way away from the sport. But Drew is a great person with great opinions and just gave a extremely candid response. And I love when I'm able to get a constructive, candid answer out of people. And it's a challenge. It's a true challenge. So that's my favorite part about the job is evoking something unique out of that person and letting them express themselves in a different way rather than just get pucks deep, get pucks to the net, go full 200 feet, play the full 60. Like my challenge is to never allow them to say that. So that's my favorite part.
You bring great answers out of these guys too. We should also note. Another question we've got. What did you study in college that helped your career?
So I went to college 3 different times and twice at the same college. And I went to community college. I studied, like the first time I went when I wasn't ready, I tried to do graphic design. I don't know why. I thought Photoshop was cool back in the early 2000s, I guess, but that didn't pan out. And then it was. So then moving here, I went to Pierce College in Woodland Hills, and I only took classes that catered to broadcast journalism. So I took, different journalism writing courses. I wrote for the school newspaper. I took like a broadcast history class. Like I kind of catered everything around just that one niche. And I don't have a degree, but I constantly added things to my toolbox to make it the most well-rounded education experience for myself. And paired with that, I took nonstop hosting workshops. I took voice lessons to learn how to get like rid of a slight lisp that I used to have. That was like kind of, it was there. But like,
wait, can you sing?
No. Voice lessons.
Why haven't you done the national anthem for us?
No. Like speaking lessons. Not voice.
I'm starting rumors. Sorry.
She's a singer. So no, she's not a singer. So voice lessons in that regard. And then a lot of improv courses. I took 4 years of improv and comedy classes at the Groundlings in Hollywood. And I was just nonstop pulling experience from different areas rather than just going to school and getting a 4-year bachelor's degree in broadcasting or journalism. So I don't recommend everybody take my path. It worked for me, but I also am a little bit crazy when it comes to the hustle. And if you just want to be a normal person, broadcasting and journalism and even communications are some good areas to explore in your colleges. So definitely stick to that. Stay in school. Please
stay in school. And I will say a few things piggybacking on that. No one hustles harder than you. I can attest to that. And as far as college goes, I studied communications. I have a ton of friends that did journalism that are no longer in TV. And I've had friends that didn't do anything TV related and now are in TV. So what you do in college doesn't limit you to what you do in your career. I think if you have a will and you work hard, then you're going to get to where you want to be. So
absolutely
don't let a degree stop you. All right. next question we have, any tips you have for future female broadcasters? Kind of in the same realm.
Start now. So it doesn't matter what age you are. If you're 18 and you're thinking about, what do I want to, or how do I break into this? Start making YouTube videos. Start learning how to edit. Start steeping yourself doing fun things or creating storylines. Start writing. Start reading sports articles. Start, seeing how the flow of that world works. But start now and don't expect yourself to get there overnight. It took 10 years. So when I finally, landed this dream job, 10 years had passed from when I had seen Heidi doing her thing. So it's not something that happens overnight. And just start now, be yourself. Also, I know that sounds cliche, but Kayla, you can't fake it in this business. And if you do, you'll exhaust yourself. If you put on a front and act like somebody you're not, or somebody that you've seen, or almost kind of mimic or copycat a different persona that, this is what a broadcaster should sound like. No, be yourself and it'll be easier to accomplish the things that you're working toward. But start small, and just pick up a camera and pick up a microphone and go. Honestly, it's just sometimes people wait too long and wait for the opportunities to come to them. And this is another thing too that I tell people. Nobody is thinking about you when they go to sleep at night. And I mean that in a way where you are responsible for your own destiny. No one is thinking, where does Kayla want to be in 5 years and how can I help her? No, Kayla should be thinking, where am I going to be in 5 years and how can I help myself? So hustle for yourself. No one else is going to do it for you, and stay true to yourself and start now. Those are my tips.
We need to clip that out and give it its own tweet because that is perfect. That is excellent. That is exactly. All right. Next question we have from Anthony Molina. Have you ever played a sport? People who know you know this answer, but let everyone know who doesn't.
I played hockey my whole life, and I still do in a certain way. So I played hockey. I played like the recreational soccer and softball, and I feel bad for anybody's team that I was on because I was so bad. But hockey was my bread and butter, and I started playing back when they didn't really have a lot of women's hockey programs. So growing up in Maine, I was a middle schooler looking for organized hockey. I literally been playing shinny my whole life. Like literally, like people know you throw your sticks in a pile on a frozen surface outdoors, you split up the sticks. That's your team. I was doing that from like age 6 to, 13 or whatever, just waiting for, all right, when's organized hockey going to happen for me? And the opportunity to join the boys team was there, but I declined because it was scary. It was like, I don't want to play with them. What do you mean? I don't want to play with the boys. Like one of them stole my hockey stick. Like I don't want to play with that guy. So I was playing on the women's high school team back in middle school. So that was kind of my introduction to organized hockey. And then when I moved out here, there was a AEG employee hockey team at one point that I played on. I played on the Lady Kings at one point. And then I've played some other organized or I would call it unorganized or beer league or, type of hockey out here. And then now I'm since retired from unorganized hockey and after a concussion in my 30s, which no one needs. And I will only play with friends on private ice because I'm just an old lady now with brittle bones and I can't risk it. But yes, long story short, I play hockey.
I actually want you to give me a lesson because I've never played and that could be something fun.
No, you know who needs to give us both lessons is Blake Bolden. So when you interview her next, will you ask her for me?
That's such a good idea. We have to make this happen. Blake's coming up at 2 p.m. Pacific, by the way.
Nice plug.
Thank you. All right, moving right along. I love this question and I'm curious to see your answer. What was the moment that you had your I've made it moment in this industry?
I still don't have that moment. I still don't. I'm like, I feel like if you have that moment or you settle or you sit back or you retreat and you go, this is it. This is as good as it's going to get. that's the moment you start to decline in progress, right? So
You should never have that moment, right?
should never. No, you should always be not looking ahead in a way where you're trying to leave where you're at, right? But you should be always kind of looking to grow, especially if you're solid in a position that you love, like myself right now. I love this job. I love it so much. I look on the horizon and I'm like, what would allow me to grow in this role, and what can I target next that I can kind of add to this? So I don't feel like I've made it. I feel like I've made a dream of mine come true. And I feel like there's so much further to go. Like I want to report at an Olympics. I want to report during, a Stanley Cup final. Like I have goals. They are there, but it's just, there's so much left to be done.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like every job, every opportunity is like a building block, and it's getting you one step closer, but you should never have that moment if you want to keep growing and, expanding your horizons.
Don't be static or stagnant.
Yes, don't become complacent.
No, exactly.
All right, we've got one for your coworkers here, not from them, but about them. First of all, which on-air commentator cracks you up, and then which player cracks you up on air?
Oh my gosh. Well, Toffoli cracked me up. We missed you. No,
we missed Tyler.
He's on a tear right now in Montreal. My God.
Seriously.
He always cracked me up. When he dropped Spumoni, for those that know, I literally was like, excuse me? Mid-interview, I was like, wait, what? He cracks me up. Dustin Brown, sneaky, hilarious, like real sneaky, hilarious. I don't know if the fans get to see as much of it as we do, but it's great. Coworker, I love them all uniquely, and they're all so funny. Patrick could have been like a stand-up comedian in another life. I feel like if you watch the way he transitions from segment to segment, or if there's like a hiccup on the broadcast, he makes the biggest joke out of it. Like I want to say like 2 or 3 broadcasts ago, something happened and it was like they brought in Jarrett, they put him back out or something, and he's like, can't wait to add this to my reel.
He's great with the puns too. His puns are like,
well, Foxy's the pun king. So Foxy takes the pun freaking trophy in that regard. And then Alex is just like, he's so self-deprecating. So he cracks me up too. If you say, have a good show, Alex, he goes, don't tell me what to do. But it's obviously be funny. So, and then Derek Armstrong, I mean, you can't not crack up when you're around him. So they're all hilarious. I got to work on my comedic skills.
You've got a great crew over there.
They're great. They're the best.
No, do you know what I really love about when you really get tickled? Your laugh makes me laugh on the broadcast. It's so contagious.
Well, good. Thank you. I'm glad it doesn't blow your eardrums out. It's pretty loud, but
no, it's great. When were you first exposed to the sport of hockey?
Ever since I was born. So I grew up in a hockey family. My dad used to play for the Flyers and for the Detroit Red Wings. I was born after he had retired, but he was still working with the Portland Pirates, who were an AHL team in Maine at the time. And I watched a Calder Cup championship at 6 years old. Barry Trotz was coaching at the time, and it was just some of the best early hockey memories ever. And I was so delusional with being surrounded with this sport that I just thought, isn't everybody surrounded with this sport? Like, what? And my dad's from Canada, so my entire Canadian family is just like, yeah, hockey is our president. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hockey's just like, it just is their lifestyle. Yeah, hockey is life up there. So it's just something that I literally don't remember a day without. And I like it that way. But it also makes me, it's not that I wasn't exposed to other sports, but like I'm getting into baseball way later in life. Football, that's still on the agenda. Okay, I have a long way to go when it comes to kind of watching other things, but yeah, hockey since birth.
Hockey for life. What makes female camaraderie in sports so special to you?
Wow, that's I could go on and on about that. Well, we're still looking for gender equity in our world, right? And not just in where we work, but everywhere. And women have kind of a different understanding toward one another when it comes to how difficult it can be to sometimes work in this industry. And this isn't a dig at anybody, right? When I'm speaking about this, I'm not speaking in specifics where I'm saying this one person made it hard for all of us. No, it's just a general overarching thing where we're all trying to work toward this gender equity. And the camaraderie is important because we need to be supporting one another. We need to remember to not tear each other down. I know it sounds cliche, but we need to be each other's allies, and we're better together. And men too. The camaraderie between males and females is so important as well, because they're the ones that are in our corners when maybe we can't be in our own corner ourselves. We need men to be able to help lift us up if they see something isn't going right, right? So the female camaraderie, it's just so important to create this strong foundation and strong base for all of us to hold each other up and make space at the table for one another too. If there's a little more space at the table, then we won't have to fight for it. So we're all kind of working together and creating that space to make it easier for everybody else. So our relationships with one another, like this, like our friendship, how you and I help one another. I could see a job that could fit for Kayla and maybe not for me, and go, holy crap, like, there's no ego here. I'm sending this right her way. Like,
and you just did that a month ago. So thank you.
Like, but like you would do the same thing for me. And that's so important for other women in this industry to realize that we're better together. We're better if there's more of us. We can't hog everything. We need that camaraderie. We need these friendships, and they're genuine and they're awesome. And I can text you about eyebrows whenever I want because of it. Right? That's where this all leads to.
I love her eyebrows. Anyway, that's not why we're here today, but you have great eyebrows. And everyone should know it. That's a road we won't go down.
That's what camaraderie leads to, though. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. And you, of all people, practice what you preach. Everything you just said is so important. And like I said, you've always been someone I can go to in this industry, and you've always been there to listen and help. And I appreciate that more than you will ever know.
Happy to be there.
We've got a few more questions before we let you go today. Let me see. What do you do during the off season?
Sleep. I sleep. I watch a lot of TV shows, and I work a little bit of baseball as well. So it really feels like there's no off season. When hockey starts, baseball's happening. And
especially this year.
Yeah, I'll either work and create features for Angels Weekly. And last season, I got to do a few games on the broadcast, which was awesome. So that takes up some of my time. And then usually I would take a trip home to Maine, but it's been, obviously we're in a global pandemic, so I can't travel right now. But the off seasons are full of sleep, baseball, and just relaxing. Sometimes it's great to do nothing. I don't know if anybody else agrees, but I thrive off of rest and reset days.
We have that in common, yes. Along with
Call of Duty. Call of Duty. I forget.
I was going to say you've gotten big into gaming recently.
Yeah, huge. I'm huge into Call of Duty right now, so that's something that takes up at least 34 hours out of the week. So.
All right, I know this might be a hard one, but your favorite sports moment.
Favorite sports moment. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, obviously the 2 cups. That's just obvious, right? Those moments were unbelievable. Like, you can't replicate those feelings with another general life moment, right? Maybe if I have kids one day. I don't know. That'll just be like my Stanley Cup. I don't know.
Did you get married recently?
I did get married recently. That was pretty cool too. That was pretty cool. Still wasn't a Stanley Cup, but it was pretty cool. As I'm staring at a Ducks jersey up on my window right now, because my husband's a Ducks fan and he trolled me yesterday for the freeway face-off, so definitely doesn't feel like I won the Stanley Cup with that guy. No, I'm just kidding. He's great. But those moments were great. And favorite sports moment. I mean, any hat trick you witness is cool. Like, those moments are awesome. It's such a funny tradition to just see hats rain onto the ice. Those moments are great. People's first career goals are awesome. First goals as a king is always awesome. Those moments are are amazing. And just seeing the sheer joy on athletes' faces when those happen. That's what we watch for. That's what they play for. And any, like, it's like all of those moments are so much fun to watch. But Stanley Cups, they just take the cake. I know. I know. Everyone's going to be
you
like,
can't top that.
They're so great.
Yeah, you can't top that. So, this is a fun question because obviously not this year, but last year you would travel with the team. What is your favorite NHL city besides LA and why?
Oh, goodness. I had a great time in Philadelphia. So I'd been there once before to watch a game, and that was about like 2015. And then going back this past season was my first time as a broadcaster, and it was great. I went shopping. I think it snowed a little. Like it was, I don't know why. I just really liked Philadelphia. It was cool to get to meet a lot of people in that arena that had known my dad when he was playing back in the 70s and 80s. There were people that had come from the arena that he had played at and still worked at their current one now. So that was awesome. I love Toronto. Holy smokes. I think I went shopping for 2 days straight in Toronto. And then it was great. And then I had a really good time in Tampa too. Daryl Evans and I took a little boat cruise in Tampa and ate some snacks for his birthday this past year.
I remember that. That was so
great.
Cute.
So great. My parents came to visit, and my grandmother got to come to the Kings practice. So I'm not a big fancy dinner person. I know a lot of our coworkers are, and so they probably have different opinions based on which place has the best food. But I'm just like hey, is there like a sandwich shop close by? Cool.
You're all about the shopping.
Good to go. Yeah, good to go.
Priorities. Exactly. All right, let's see. What would your advice on how to break the barrier of women working in the NHL?
Just keep making
space.
What
would your advice be?
You have to keep making space at the table, and you need to call on your male counterparts to help you do it too. And I know we want to say like, we're strong, we don't need any help. That's not what it's about. It's just about equity and making people aware that of course we belong here. There should be no barrier for entry for anybody, whether you're a female or not. And it's just something that I think is going to get easier over time. It's easier than it was, 5 years ago, right? But it's still not the easiest it could be. And we all need to keep making noise and not be afraid to, I think a lot of times women think like, well, I don't want to be difficult, or I don't want to be looked at like bossy. You're not being bossy. You're just being assertive because you know your worth and you're asserting yourself into situations where you know you belong. So my advice wouldn't even be for the women to be any different. My advice would be for everybody else that may be making it hard for us, you, me, someone else. My advice is for that person to open up their mind and step back for a second and realize, why am I saving the space at the table for me? Or why am I hogging it for myself? Why am I making sure it's protected for my other peers who I think deserve it more? It's for those people need to reevaluate maybe why they think the way that they do. And women, just keep being the cool, I was going to say bad, but I was like, we're in a live stream, Carrlyn, guys. Just keep being the cool, strong women that you are, and make that space at the table.
Woo, that was good. Great answer. All right, we are running out of time. I've got one last question for you before we let you go today. And I kind of teased this at the beginning because like I said, love your story. I love your rise. So someone asked, as you started with the Kings organization, did you have any idea where you'd end up today? And kind of tell everyone where you started and each role you've had, because it's really cool.
I did not think I would end up here today, but I never doubted myself that I wouldn't belong here one day. I always thought I could make it happen. But when it actually happened, I was like, I can't believe it happened. So I'll try and make it brief, but I started as a member of the LA Kings ice crew. I worked 5 seasons shoveling snow and having the time of my life. I had a few people in the Kings organization. They know exactly who they are. Some of them are still there today, who believed in me until no end. And I cultivated relationships with people and just began to grow and have people in my corner. I went from ice crew to in-arena hosting, which Kayla does a phenomenal job at now. Best job in sports.
Thank you.
Best job in sports. I miss it every day. I spent 3 seasons doing that. And again, just growing my network and connections and continued to expand my skill set, taking all those classes and stuff that I was talking about earlier. Left after 3 seasons to go to Fox Sports National to cover WWE, UFC, and NHL for their digital platforms. Anybody remembers At the Buzzer on Fox?
I do.
Over there for a bit. RIP At the Buzzer. It was a good time. It was a good run. People like Rachel Bonetta, who now hosts on FS1. She was over there when I was too. And then there was a message, I want to say, from Andrea McPhee, who now works who works in Fox Sports for Fox Sports West, that was just like, hey, can you email me? I think it was on LinkedIn. And I was like, wait, what? Fox Sports West? Hello? And they had an opportunity with their digital platform called Extra Points. So I took that opportunity, left FS1 Digital, came back home, to cover the teams that I love and know in Southern California, and then spent I want to say 2 years doing that and working my way to the ultimate goal of covering this Kings broadcast and covering on this Kings broadcast and working alongside the team. So it's a crazy journey, and it's like I said, when you look back at it from the initial moment I had the thought, it's been 10 years. Just where'd the time go? My God. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the coolest. You started on ice crew and now you're covering the Kings ringside and living the dream. We're so proud of you.
Thanks, girl.
Like I said, you hustle so hard. There was a lot of, I'm sure, blood, sweat, and tears between point A and B, as there should be.
There still are.
There's still, yes, exactly. We're moving on up. So, it's so cool to see your story and your rise. We love seeing you on the broadcast every other night. You are killing it. I know it's been a difficult season with all of the different protocols, but just keep on keeping on. Keep on being you. We love it.
Thank you, Kayla. I cannot wait to see you yelling in front of 18,000 people at Staples Center, and I hope it happens sooner rather than later because you're darn good at it and you make me crack up every time.
Well, thank you. You and me both. Can't wait to see you soon. Thank you so much for your time.